Node 2, Return to the Yiner. Win the fight against your opponent. Frozen. Cast 4 or more snow cards during a single fight. Extinguisher. Kill 3 or more creatures of the same type during a single fight. The permanent support on this node is at the beginning of each player's turn creates 2 snow gems. When a creature enters the battlefield, if that is a snow creature, it gets +2/+2. If that is an elf creature, draw a card. I think this is going to be one of the harder objectives. Extinguisher. You are pretty much solely going to have to rely on yourself to build this deck, because if you face a creatureless deck, you're never going to hit that objective, and you can't always rely on Greg. The same subtype creatures down. For newer players, I would go green. I would go Nissa Sage Animus with something like this, with Moray of the Frost, who I think for any newer player, he's a changeling, which means that he has every single subtype. Like if you click right here, this card is every creature subtype while on the battlefield or board and while being cast. I'm hoping that this will count toward the objective. We don't necessarily know until it plays, but that's what we're hoping for. So when you cast this card, you're going to create 4 snow gems, and then you may exile this card. If you do, create into play under your control a copy of the opposing creature or support with the greatest mana cost. That card gains snow and legendary. Then if that card is a creature card, it gets +2/+2. Then we have Blizzard Brawl for the snow objective. Your first creature fights target opposing creature. If there are 9 or more snow gems, your first creature gets +2/+0 and prevent damage. Now that's what you're looking for, so that way your weak creatures can fight their creatures and still live. Then we have a Snow Elf Warrior, because all of our creatures here have something to do with snow. When you match 2 or more snow gems, your first snow creature gets +1/+1. Now that is a permanent buff as well. And when this creature enters the battlefield, you're going to create 4 snow gems. And then we have Icehide Troll. He is a 2/3 with snow and berserker. When he comes into the battlefield, you're going to create 2 snow gems. When you match 2 or more snow gems, this creature gets +1/+1 against prevent damage till end of turn. So basically, the plan with him is to use that prevent damage and the berserker to help attack into your opponent's creatures, because green has very, very little removal. And then we have Shimmerdrift Veil. At the beginning of your turn, you're going to create 2 snow gems. Reclaim, destroy target creature you control and gain 12 mana. This will hopefully help hitting the killer 3 or more creatures of the same subtype. And then we have Oakham Adversary, because this is my favorite pauper draw power. It's a creature. Every time he attacks, or every time he deals damage to your opponent's planeswalker, you get to draw a card. And then we have Kenrith Transformation, which is not a kill spell. It just turns their power and toughness to become a 3/3. But it also helps with card draw as well. And then we have Nissa's Pilgrimage for gem conversion, and the same thing with Bark Channel Pathway as well. If you have a little bit of a better collection, you could always choose Domri Chaosbringer, or even Sarkhan Unbroken. I did not choose Sarkhan because there is only one creature that his third ability can fetch, which is the Snow Kraken, which is absolutely amazing. However, when I did my testing, it kills way too quickly, and it was very, very hard to kill 3 of your own creatures. So instead, I decided to go with Domri, because his second ability will fetch 2 different creatures, or it'll fetch whichever the first 2 creatures. So that will help with casting. Where did he go? There he went. It will help with casting your snow creatures. We have Oram Frostfang, who is a snow snake. He's a 4/8. When a creature you control attacks, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains Death Touch. And whenever a creature deals combat damage, draw a card. So you could potentially, if you have 3 creatures on the field, you can draw 3 cards a turn. And then we have this guy who was in the Pauper build. Same thing with Ice-Hide Troll. We're going to use him to gain the prevent damage and attack their creatures. Same thing with the Morite of the Frost. We're going to use him. And we're going to take whatever they have good. And then we have Binding of the Old Gods. For creature destruction, it'll fetch a land. Demolish to get rid of the pesky supports. Then we have Valakut Awakening for card draw, and then it also has the land forming of the conversion to red. Craghound Pathway, which will convert gems to red, and then the land forming will convert them to green. And then we have Castle Ambreth for more red gem conversion. And then we have Sundering Stroke. I couldn't really find anything better. It's a rare. I was looking for some type of removal. This is non-targeting removal, but it's only decent on the adamant part. So you need to make a red match, which should be pretty easy to do. That's why we're converting to red anyways, but it only deals 7 damage. So your opponent will take 7 damage, and then their creatures will take 7 damage. But the problem I have with this is 12 mana. And if you're facing a Jaya's Revenge, this will not kill it for 12 mana. So to me, it's kind of a waste of 12 mana. I didn't know what else that could replace it with. And then finally, we have the Great Aurora for our board wipe. And then finally, for our larger collections, I have Nicol Bolas 1, which is a creatureless deck. And I was playtesting this last night, and it works way better than I expected that it would. It is a little bit slow at first because it's a Herald theme. So you have to put all the supports into play first, and then after that, then you'll start getting your creatures. So we have the Prismatic Bridge, who flips into Esika, God of the Tree. This card, at the beginning of your turn, fetch first support card with Herald, creature, or Vanguard from your library. Move that card to play under your control. And the flip side is really nice. Works when this creature attacks, convert 3 gems to your Planeswalker's colors. When a legendary creature you control attacks, convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker's colors. And these should all be legendary creatures, so every time, you can convert a bunch of gems. Then we have Throne of Death. At the beginning of your turn, destroy the top 3 cards of your library. Activate 4. Exile the first creature card from your graveyard, then draw a card. The flip side, at the beginning of your turn, exile the first 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, destroy this creature and draw a card. It gains full mana. And then we have Cauldring the Rhinestaff. Mana Field, which is, it irradiates an area of effect to the gems around it. Whenever you make your first match in your turn inside the irradiated area, this support triggers its Mana Field, which is return the first snow card from your graveyard to your hand. It gains X mana. X is the number of snow gems. So this will help with the objective of casting the snow cards because it's putting them back in your hand, sometimes with mana. And then you have Jorn, God of Winter. While on the battlefield, your snow cards can't be disabled. When this creature attacks, create X snow gems. X is the number of snow cards you control. Then this creature gets +X/+X. Blood on the Snow for killing 3 or more creatures of the same type because they're all heralds. They're all gods, so he's a god, and he's a god. So as long as we can get all 3 out, and then we can cast Blood on the Snow, then right there's the objective. Destroy all creatures, then return the first creature that costs X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. X is the number of snow gems. If there are 12 or more snow gems, destroy all Vanguard supports. Then we have Gravenlore for some card draw. Ruinous Ultimatum for getting rid of a board wipe, which is also the same thing as Blood Snow, but this will also get rid of your opponent's Vanguards and non-land supports as well. Demolish for anything that Ruinous Ultimatum won't hit. Whirlwind of Thought for extra card draw and to really speed the deck up. And then we have Valakut Awakening for card draw and the land forming ability. And then we have Shatterskull Smashing for non-targeted removal plus the land forming as well. Thanks for watching part 2, guys. I hope this really helps you out.